I'm here. This is one of the entrances behind me, and you could already tell it's going to be a roller coaster. All right, what's going on, guys? So I'm here in Westminster, California. Westminster, California is a city which is about 20 minutes or so away from the coast and Huntington Beach and everything else. And the reason why I'm here is because everybody told me that this mall absolutely, deteriorated. It's creepy, it's eerie, it's abandoned, it's on the brink of failure, all this crazy stuff. And so I figured, it'd be something I'd honestly be interested into checking out. And so that's why we're here. In the 80s and the 90s and even in the early 2000s, like malls were actually the place to be at. Like they really were. There was about 2,700 that were flourishing and popping off. And now in present day, we have about under 700, and maybe like 1/4 of those 700 are malls like this. It's just wild to me that this is even still open and standing. Anyway, let's get into it without further ado. Everything's basically shut down. You have this Escape VR store here, and they just have like a single creepy Ring camera at the entrance telling you that you're being recorded. Probably because this thing, basically failed, so they don't want people breaking in. This drone store, completely shut down. Whatever this was, completely shut down. And it basically like never ends either, because it's all shut down. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of eerie. That's still in business somehow. Whatever that is over there, that's shut down too. Looks like they're shut down as well. Or no, surprisingly, I guess this one's open. Then you have Target over there in the corner. That's shut down as well. Once a Target basically leaves your mall, then you already know. Really, the only shops in here are just these really small shops that are basically being rented out for really cheap, leases every month, but everything else is basically shut down. This is shut down too. This spa, that's shut down. This is another store here. It probably used to be popular at one point, but right now it's completely shut down, and looks like they just use it as a bit of a warehouse or something for their online sales, but that's wild. You have this random trampoline park right across from it, and that's dead as hell too. I don't even know how they're staying in business. Look at this creepy shit. Just this random merry-go-round over here. Really, for the most part, everything in this mall is absolutely dead. You have a few of the big stores like Macy's and JCPenney that are still in business somehow. I'm pretty sure they're losing money like every month. There's no way that they're not. This buffet that's across from it, that's dead too. You can't really make money off of that if there's nobody actually coming in, right? So I'm assuming this right here used to be like a Hollister or American Eagle or whatever that's called, one of those types of stores, but this thing is shut down too. And again, it's like every corner, every turn that you take in here, it's another 3 or 4 absolutely dead, out of business stores. It's pretty wild to see. Most of it is really just abandoned for the most part. It's like every turn you take, there's another basically hallway of dead stores and maybe 3 or 4 people walking around, but besides that, it's basically completely dead. Like I said, there's no way that these businesses that are staying here are actually making a profit at the end of every month. There's just no way if you do the math. Then you have this like absolutely, I don't even know, it looks like it's out of the 90s, with this old pizza place, kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, if you guys have that where you're from. But this is out of business too. And honestly, I have no idea when the last time this place was even open. just because the decor and everything else is pretty retro and throwback. They probably shut down because this is a lot of space right here. So imagine like their monthly mortgage or their lease, and then how much money they're actually bringing in. It was probably a negative balance sheet every month. So I almost want to see if it's open in there, but I don't want to like set off all alarm or whatever. Eat, shot, play. Yeah, I don't know about that. See, this is another example. See, this store right here, I'm giving it a few months before they're completely out of business, because if they're not doing like online sales or anything, and they're not actually selling stuff outside of the, they're like their physical location, there's no way that they're going to be able to pay, just their basic rent every month. This is basically like a very rudimentary skeleton of a mall that's still somehow lingering around. And a lot of the business owners here basically, I feel kind of bad because it is kind of out of desperation in a way. And it's also because they think that someone's going to come through here and, buy this all and whatever the case is. But I don't think that's going to necessarily happen. I think a lot of the small businesses should have really just learned from some of the bigger companies like Target and Hollister pulling out, because that's kind of, again, a red flag.
What?
Can I interview you really quick?
Oh, yeah,
sure. Just a quick ass question. What's up, man? What's your name?
Tim.
Ali, bro. Nice to meet you.
How's it going, Tim?
Yeah, I'm just doing a little video about this dead mall. So when do you think this is going to shut down?
2025.
2025?
It's supposed to have been already over and done with. I think it's gonna become like another strip center, like a outlet, almost like a Bellaterra.
Yeah.
Or a
something a little bit more upscale.
Upscale but outlets. And then strip center style.
Right.
With entertainment, housing. The new trend.
Yeah, like more modern and stuff.
They have to.
Talk to some of the business owners here, and it's kind of sad, dude. Some of them were like in denial. They're like, oh no, somebody's gonna buy this place, and
listen, if that was true, why did the mall kick out all the corporate stores?
Yeah.
And bring in mom
That's
and
exactly
pops?
what I was saying, yeah.
Because the mom and pops have nowhere to go. It's cheap rent. It's temporary. It keeps money flowing to pay the bills.
Yep.
But if they wanted to turn this place around, why is John's gone?
Exactly. Target and all these other places.
Well, so Target will stay.
Yeah.
I think Penny's will stay. Target will be there. Macy's might disappear.
Right.
Or they might turn it into the outlet concept, the backstage, which is technically already there.
Right.
But the whole store might become that. So those are your anchors, and then they'll build a strip center around that with entertainment, a movie theater, more high-end outlets, and a bunch of housing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Work and play.
Right.
And that'll be the new Westminster Mall.
Yeah, man, it's crazy to hear some of the people are like, oh yeah, it's gonna, they're gonna buy it, and I'm like, nah, man.
Because they're hoping that they get in on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Cheap rent, grandfathered in. This beautiful new mall suddenly appears, and they're gonna just.
But that's not gonna happen.
No.
Hey, dude, I appreciate it, man.
Going down.
All right, so that was a lot of good information from that guy we just talked to, Tim. But you can even see how old this stuff is right here. This is like 90s Pokemon stuff. And then you come over here to this whole entire thing, which has been shut down for years. So it's pretty wild to see. I don't really see it hanging on for too much longer. People are saying that the cost of all this is basically going to, all these small businesses, it's going to basically put them out of business, because even though the real estate is cheap per month here, it's not going to be something that actually lasts for a very long time.
Around 2025 or 2026, they're going to have to remodel. They're going to remodel this area into an outlet mall. And housing around the mall.
Right.
Just like the block.
So do you think a lot of these people who have these small, a lot of them, they basically got this because it's very cheap per month. So it's cheap lease, cheap mortgage, etc. Do you think that these are going to be essentially converted over to the new area, or do you think they're going to be basically forced out?
I'm pretty sure they're going to be forced out. And if they want to come back, they're going to have to
hire
again, more funds.
Okay. And do you think this is like an area, like a good area for actually putting that type of stuff here, or do you think it's kind of like an unpopular, it's just a bad idea either way?
Because it's popular here, but since COVID came in, it died out.
Okay.
And a lot of people just fade away and start going to other areas.
So do you think COVID was one of the reasons why this died, or do you think it's just because of poor investment and everything else into it?
No. COVID.
COVID.
and people started investing their time on online, selling online.
Yeah, e-commerce and everything.
You know,
yeah,
to sell their stuff. And
you know, throughout my entire walk here, the only thing on my mind was really like, how are these people able to afford even just their mortgage? Because there's no way that they're paying their bills. And I, you know, when I was talking to some of these business owners, they just straight up told me, a lot of them, they were like, yeah, there's like, we're struggling here. We're not making enough money to stay in business. This is just really sad, you know, and it's very interesting perspective. Also, if you go look over here across the street, there's this Best Buy, and this Best Buy is probably going to be the next on the chopping block as well. I don't see that really surviving. I mean, that company as a whole is already starting to fail. All right, so as you can see, this mall is absolutely depressing in nature. It's on the decline. They're saying that they're you know, potentially going to re-renovate it and turn it into something new and a housing development and project, according to Myron and some of the links and info that he was able to send me. But you know, at the same time, that begs the question, it's like, are malls outdated now, or are we just like looking at them in a different completely way to be, you know, in the future? And that's I think what I'm kind of like scratching my head on. It's because I personally don't think that these types of malls are going to exist in the future. I think they're going to be more and more of the kind of like luxury upscale outlets, and then you have some housing around it and all this other stuff. I think we're going to start to see more of that than anything else. And I think this is an example of that. You know, I think long gone are the days of like, you go into this one big centralized location that has a JCPenney, a Sears, a Macy's, or whatever, and you can get all these things done in one go. I think very few of those malls are going to stay around. I think the future is going to be more so what Myron was saying, like just the way that things are, you know. And as you guys can kind of see, this is not necessarily the place to be at. I'm surprised it's still even open. I feel bad for a lot of the small mom and pop shops, because they're probably renting out these places expecting to make money. And that's not gonna, like, dude, nobody comes here. Like, no, that's not gonna be the case. Figuring out they can't make money, they're stuck in this like temporary lease or whatever. They lose a bunch of money, they're probably discouraged with ever doing business ever again, and you know, the cycle kind of just probably repeats. Basically, Gen Zers and millennials, we were the last ones to ever be able to enjoy that, right? But I really do think malls are basically dwindling down, and we can just look at the numbers for that, right? Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, or if you have any questions, comments, whatever the case is, leave me a comment, leave me a like, subscribe, dislike, whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. I'm like a half-assed YouTuber, dude. Till the next time, take care.